Welcome to today's 3 o'clock webinar with Community CPA. My name is Catherine Tran and I work with Ying Sa. We have a special guest today. His name is Amner. Hi Amner, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
He is the CEO of Infinite Resources, which is a Des Moines-based human resources company. And he'll get a chance to introduce the company and what they do, especially in the cultural space with human resources. But first, Amner, is it okay if I go over some basic information on Community CPA, and then we can—
Yes, please. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so we are a regional CPA firm. You can find us on our website, communitycpa.com. We are also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And so we provide all sorts of accounting, payroll, audit, tax, business consultation planning. Right now, especially tax planning is super important. Collectively, we are a very diverse team, and Amner can attest to that. We have 9 different languages that are spoken among our staff. And then we serve more than 9,000 clients among our location and also remotely. So our CEO is Ying Sa. A few things about her. She is on the National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel, which is an advisory committee to the IRS. So if you have any ideas of how to improve the IRS, she would love your suggestions and to pass it along to them. You can email her at ying@communitycpa.com, subject line, TAP recommendation. Another thing, she also has her first book out, Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m., all about starting a business. And she is currently working on her second book on growing a business. That is her 10 a.m. book. So watch out for that. We're hoping that it will be published around the end of the year. And just a quick no responsibility disclaimer. Of course, take everything that you see here with a grain of salt. This is not legal advice. So it is all we have to say. So Amner,
hi.
Welcome to our program today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So Amner, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. My name is Amner Martinez, and I started my company, Infinite Resources, almost 2 years ago, and I've been in Iowa since 1995. I'm from Guatemala, originally born, and I've been in the staffing industry, staffing world for 17 years, and now I'm, took a leap and started on my own, and here we are.
Perfect. So I wanted to ask you a bit about your company. So can you tell us a bit about it, and then what makes it unique among others in the HR space?
Okay, it's kind of similar to Community CPA, as far as we're inhabiting a space that nobody else is, so it's obviously immigrant owned. It's staffing for positions that a lot of immigrants fill. Yeah, there's, I don't know how many, but there's got to be close to 100 or more staffing agencies in Des Moines. So us being bilingual, Latino immigrant owned company kind of makes us a little bit unique. We're not exclusive to other languages or anyone else, but that's just kind of what sets us apart. The immigrant community identifies with us, and thus are, that's the demographic that seems to right now being the hardest working. The immigrants come here to work. They come here for a better life. And that's why they take the hard jobs, the early morning jobs, the overnight jobs, the jobs that people don't want. So they can they can identify with us, and that's kind of why we're having a little bit of success right now, and we're glad that we can help.
Yeah. So I see that you have we have job sign posted up.
Hmm.
What are currently available with Infinite Resources?
Oh, so we have clients in the construction industry. I mean, we are in Iowa, so it's the capital of meat processing and meat packing. So we have clients in that industry as well. In accounting, we have clients in some healthcare aspects. So there's no one industry that we can't kind of come in and camouflage ourselves into. We're like a chameleon. Yeah, it's based on the needs of the clients. Some clients they want some temporary help, and some clients want direct hires, drivers, um, construction workers, and then some just need some advice on how to communicate with their employees, and listen to their employees and be that source of communication between employer and employee. So um,
Right.
when clients come talk to us, we just kind of hear what it is that they need, and then we just go from there.
Perfect. So I know that one of your passions right now is bridging that cultural gap in the
Mhm.
workplace. Can you tell us a bit about how that started to form for you and give us some examples of ways that you are serving in that capacity?
Yeah. Um, so I guess I'll repeat it again. I mean, community CPA is kind of a model to follow. They serve the community, or different types of communities very well. So that's uh, we're in that same space, but in the employment world. So um, some employers have a hard time just reading the labor force and their employees, and um, because I've been in the industry for so long, I'm kind of the liaison between the employer and the job seeker or their employee. So I can translate not just in literal, the language, but just the culture, the mentality, how um, how people respond to even an ad for that, for an example. Employers are always looking what's the most attractive way to promote their jobs, and because I have an insight in in that market, then um, I bring value to my clients. So, but inevitably, to answer your actual question, inevitably, I'm a son of immigrants. I have children here, and um, that's just kind of how naturally it kind of um, evolved. So I never started the company saying I'm gonna only do this. It just I can't I don't run away from it. I welcome it. So then it just started to naturally have some success.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Um, and then I think that example of how how employers might want to tweak their ads to attract a certain workforce. I think that's a great example. And if you think of others along the way, feel free to pop that in. Um,
Yeah, no, I mean, so clients want to connect with their employees. The employers, sometimes the management, especially in the workforce, in labor, the management, the CEOs, the HR managers, they're in the office, and then the laborers in the labor in the warehouse. So there's a disconnection, literal and some clients have reached out to us and asked us what how to connect that. And it's just as simple as, instead of buying donuts, go to the Mexican store and buy, pan dulce, instead of buying, burgers, buy tortas, So it's the small things that can make a difference. Obviously, there's more to it, but those are small examples that um, we try to bring into the table. Just a different perspective
Right.
for
Sometimes
clients to consider.
what is needed, right? It's just that
Mm.
outside perspective on HR to pull management and to look at it a different way and talk
Yeah.
to in a different way.
Mhm.
So I know that businesses have been impacted by COVID. Can you tell us a bit about how the pandemic has affected your business and how you've had to adapt and pivot? And then kind of along with that, how you've seen an increase or decrease in those seeking employment opportunities?
So I know that there's a lot of people that have been drastically affected by the virus, and it's hard to. There's almost like a guilt uh, effect when you know that that you were affected in a positive way. Um, but yeah, our because there's more need of communication, there's more employee relations, there's more processes that have been created. I mean, just the fact that they have to take temperature before they come into a building. There's new jobs that have been created because of the virus. Um, so to answer your question, we've actually gotten busier, um, which, like I said, knowing that there's millions of people that were affected or are still being affected, there's a little bit of a guilt factor to it. But um, adapting wise is just more work for us, more early mornings, late nights. Companies have to adapt to new ways of doing things. Um, and no, I mean, this year, it might change some workforces. For some companies are not having any of their employees come back to work. They're saving on overhead and equipment. So they're it works that some of their employees are working from home. So yeah, there's some businesses have to make a decision at some point. Should I get an office? Like, I'm in that position. Should I get an office space? But now with the virus, if I would have gotten an office space, let's say a year ago, and signed a lease, and then now I'm stuck with, I don't know, a couple $1,000s a month of rent alone plus bills. So it's a very transitional time right now. And I think the workforce is evolving. Companies are forced to do new, come up with new ideas, be creative. So this virus affected everybody. Fortunately, some got affected more negatively than others.
Correct. So you mentioned that some of the employers that you work with are in the meatpacking, area. And so have you seen pushback from potential job applicants in those type of things? And how have those companies shifted or evolved to address those type of concerns?
Yes. So starting from one of the biggest exporters of pork is Japan. So just from that factor, a lot of stuff is being held back. So the meatpacking industry got affected hugely. Earlier in the pandemic, it was a hotspot for COVID-19, and now employees do. They need to work. They have to work, and that was the dilemma of should meatpacking plants close or not. Um, there's some employees that are hesitant. Some of them did leave in the middle of the pandemic, and then they came back. But I think people are getting used to it. There's still very strict process, and I'm sure everybody does, taking their temperature. I mean, there's nowhere you can go now without taking your temperature. So we're definitely getting healthier in a way, I guess, because we're cleaner, I guess. Our hygiene has stepped up a little bit. Um, but yeah, you always have some people that are scared, and that's fair. That's okay. But it's unfortunate that if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. You can't pay your bills. So then you're forced to go to work, and then you get sick, and you know, it's a it's a mess. Like everyone knows that.
Yeah. Um, so when you think of kind of the other spectrum of how COVID has affected HR in the culture space, do you think it has positively or negatively impacted a company's priority on diversity and diversity training?
Well, I mean, it definitely. I mean, we were talking about this slightly before we started. That I believe it has put it on the back burner. Now, that's my opinion. Some people may disagree with that, and but I think it's because the virus has taken over anything that any companies, any plans, any rollouts that they wanted to do. It's slowed it down. Um, so I believe the president ordered or signed something that said that they don't have to do some diversity training. So it's kind of out there that diversity is secondary. But our job, community CPA, I know that there's others that are doing the same, where we're gonna just keep on ringing the bell that, I mean, diversity is key to a company. Um, Good culture is good for a company. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think it's gotten a little bit of a back burner, backseat kind of place right now.
Right, that makes sense. Do you think part of that is to do with people being more remote in terms of working, or just in general because the focus has shifted to, survival and pivoting?
Yeah. Um, maybe, maybe there's a mosquito in here. Maybe there has. I mean, that what you just said right now, it kind of uh, reminded me of interviewing. So interviewing before the virus was face to face. You did a phone interview, and you came in, and a lot of it has now it's phone call, a Zoom call, and you're in. So maybe this is a part of what's earlier, how it impacted it. The interviewing has also been impacted a lot. Now you get hired, with a phone, with a video call, which that one before the virus was just the second step. You had to meet the person face to face before you can make the decision. So
And sometimes a COVID test as well.
yes, COVID test, yeah.
So I know that you know you are you have a pulse on the labor market and how things have changed. So how is it now in your perspective, and how does a business compete during this time?
Okay. So here in Iowa, I mean, everybody's hiring. As far as besides the restaurant industry, besides the entertainment, is that those are the industries that got hit. The airlines industry, the restaurant industry, the entertainment industry, they got hit. But in the labor force, in construction and meat processing here in Iowa, I can only speak for Iowa. Um, there's jobs, and it's up for debate to whether the some people are making more money on unemployment than not, so they're wanting to wait out and stay before they jump on a job, which is, it's understanding, because if you're scared of getting sick, then that's fair. I mean, I don't want to minimize people's anxieties over this virus. So there's plenty of jobs out there. There's not enough people to fill the jobs. um, I don't know if it's gonna continue or not, but right now, because the virus forced companies to relocate and open new locations, and because they can't have too many people in one place, they have to hire more people to be in another place. So it affected in one ways, and then it uplifted jobs in other places. So um, it's a competitive market. um, right now it's an employee driven market. So if you're an employer and if you have a good employee, take care of them, pay them well, keep them happy, because there's somebody down like me that's hunting that's calling them to see if they want to come and work for my client. So yeah, it's competitive. So um, if you're a good employer, you have a good culture, and you pay your employees well, you're good. But if you're not a good employer, and if you don't pay well, you're going to be losing those employees.
Excellent. And then, are there any other ways that will make an employer competitive right now as well? You mentioned pay.
Right. So that's everybody. Everybody thinks that that's it. And I mean, of course, pay is key, right? Like, we all want to be happy and feel compensated, but a lot of it has to do with care. It's take care of your employees. Um, Mean it. And I know it's harder the bigger you become as a company, um, the harder it is. But then you have to bring somebody that creates that for you. I really believe in HR managers are important, but then there needs to be somebody else that works hand in hand with the HR managers to be creative and build healthy environments and positive environments. And because what, like everybody says, a happy employee is a productive employee. So I run into a lot of people that are loyal to their employers. I myself, before I started my venture, I was very happy and I was loyal to my previous boss, because he treated me well and he paid me well, and he made it hard for me to leave. And that's kind of how you want to do it. You want to make it hard for your employees to leave. That's how you stay truly competitive. Now money obviously makes a difference, but culture, people want to be happy. So if you create that environment, it's not easy, but it's not impossible either.
Right. And so on the other end, how does somebody who is looking for a job find a company that will take care of its employees? What should they be asking or looking for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I know when I first started in staffing, I would just think that people need to go to an interview and make sure that they're the ones that are getting interviewed and questioned. And I would never advise them on anything. But now it's a double interview. Just as much as the employer is interviewing you, look at it as like you ask them the right questions um, to see if that's a company that you want to work for. So um, yeah, I mean, it's an easy question, but what is your culture? A good employer should easily tell you what their culture is, if they have one. If they don't have one, they'll struggle with that question. Because yeah, because it should come from the answer should come from inside, because you know it and you own it. You know that that's the culture of the company. So if they struggle with that question, that could be something for you to consider. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's key. If they hesitate to answer that simple question, then you know you might want to make a note of
Yes.
that.
And I do notice oftentimes that that there are job postings that they will include a little bit of company culture now, and I think that's very smart to do.
Yeah. You have to make the right now, at least the way that the market is, pitch the job the best way possible, because people are, on Indeed, on Craigslist, on all these job search engines, scrolling through to find what, makes them want to click on
Right.
that job. And it's not always just the pay, it's not always just the job title. It's how they feel about that company.
Thank you, Amber. I wanted to pull up your contact for everyone just so that they could see. Are
Yeah.
there any last words before we part? Thank you so much
Any
for.
last words? No. That's my contact information. My website is same thing, infiniteresourcesdsm.com. I'm available for talk on the phone or coffee, or answer any questions. If anybody's out there looking for a job, let me know. I might be able to help you, I might not, but if I can't, I might connect you with somebody that can. But yeah, we have a lot of jobs. We're excited. We're a growing company, so there's still a lot of heart and creativity uh, with it. So we're easy and fun to work with. So yeah, if you have any questions, just um, contact me.
Awesome. Thank you, Amner. And then this is our contact. If you have any questions or follow-up, you can email Catherine at communitycpa.com. We are open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30, and we have these webinars every day at 3 o'clock except for Sunday. So we will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Amner. I really appreciate your time here.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for having me.